story is I have,
Yeah.
since I was little, I've had these reoccurring dreams that I have to go to the bathroom. We go into a gas station and like the gas, it's disgusting. It's like overflowing. There's poop everywhere on the on the seats, like literally overflowing so that you can't, like it's like I need to go so bad. I would go on anything except it's literally impossible. So
Ah!
you guys, I go to Burning Man and I'm like the suction tank got broken and all of a
Oh.
sudden like the the toilets got like so full, like the toilet paper and poop was to the top, and when
No,
we
it's
were
like you're
out and the hummingbird just came, as so funny, and we were out and there's all these, just in the middle of the playa, like the desert, there's all these lines of porta potties. They opened one after another. There's like poop smeared on the seats. It's like toilet paper, pee everywhere. Like it was literally, I didn't realize this, but I was like, I was so triggered that I came home and I just like went unconscious and I slept all day that day. I got up, made the tables that I was responsible for, ate dinner, went back to sleep, slept all night. Like I went unconscious for almost 24 hours straight because I was like shut down mode. I was freaking out. I was like, this is not okay. And I'm like, I can't. And I'm like, I'm never coming back to Burning Man. Like I was super triggered. So then I'm telling my friend about this because 2 weeks later I had the dream. And I'm like, I've had this dream 100 times. Like, this is the dream. It was so triggering. She goes, oh, I would have translated that that dream into like, I manifest shit. Like as in I can manifest anything. And or like all my dreams come true. She's she's like a master dream weaver, but I'm like, that is amazing. What if I translated my dream like that? She's like, yeah, actually, the symbolism of poop in dreams is actually abundance. Like if you think of the way that we use the word shit, it's like, I'm the shit. Or, oh, he's such a piece of shit. Or like, I can manifest shit. Like it's like, and we use this word for everything. And it's like this word for abundance. Or a table means support, or a
that's
house means
making
subconscious.
lemonade out of lemons for
Yeah.
sure.
So anyway, there's my dream stories. Laura, you just came in. We were just talking about the power of dreams. And
Mhm.
so it's really fun. And
The power of dreams isn't in my mind a diff isn't very different, if at all, from the power of ESP. And I know ESP clearly in my life. Like I identify it all the time. Like I'll be talking about somebody and the phone will ring from Vancouver and that very person shows up. And I
all the
haven't
time.
seen or heard of that person for 15 years. Or if in the one case in particular, I was heartbroken and I hadn't heard anything for 3 years. And, like that. ESP, if it's not different really than dreams.
Yeah, it's the
It
same
is
thing where
different, but it's the
we're
same,
tapped
same, but
into
different.
so much more than our first of all, we're energetically tied to each other. So that's the whole thing about dream sharing,
Yeah.
is we're energetically tied to each other. And then the other is the subconscious is running 90% of the show. And in every minute, the subconscious takes in like 100,000 pieces of information, whereas the conscious mind is only aware of 50 of them, right? And so it's like there's only so much information that I think that's every second. I mean, it's just crazy how the difference between the subconscious and the conscious mind is. So the subconscious, when we tap in, just like in hypnosis, we can get so much more information and just live a more full life, right? So yeah, one thing like Ruth and I know Laura, you missed this, was one of the hacks for dream keeping is to just use your phone, and as soon as you wake up, turn the recorder on and start recording. It's just a really great way to get those memories of the access, like when you're still in access to the dream state, recorded, so that when you wake up fully, you're like, what was that? And then you can remember your dream a lot better. So and then share your dreams, like share your dreams with your family members, or and hear what their insights are, because there's some really amazing magic that can happen from sharing dreams. And
Brooke does that. Wow, Brookie, you've been doing that for years. You'll share your dreams, and we all think, how does she do that?
yeah, to remember them so vividly. Yeah, we could talk about that for a long time, but so just start playing around with it. It's just a neat way to kind of like actually get clarity around your life, right? Okay, so we're ready for you to step into your teaching mode. We're gonna have Laura teach first, and then Ruth, you're next.
It's a little crazy today, I must admit. I just had my MRI. It's very nerve-wracking. I don't know if you've had an MRI on your brain before, but they roll your head into this machine that is very loud. And so I drove back. I was very calm. I thought about my daughter's sweet smile and riding on the waves at the beach. So
Amazing.
am I
Good job using your mind as a tool. Look how prepared you are.
I used ChatGPT as a tool
Fantastic.
but I did use what I know to cross-reference to make sure that I felt like this was giving me accurate
Yeah,
information.
and just a reminder, like the workbook is a great resource to go to for all this too. So
I
fantastic.
don't have the office randomly today, so I don't have my notebook with me, but I know you'll interject nuggets of wisdom as well. So the reason I wanted to teach on anger is because I had an episode of anger week before last within my family, and literally like screamed so loud in my house that my voice was rough that day just because I was so angry and mad. And from what we've learned, when there's anger, there's something that needs to be rectified or resolved, or something's unfair. So oftentimes we feel anger, but we might be confused, or we might be frustrated, or we might have anxiety. But in this situation, it's like there's a wrong that we feel needs to be righted. Is that right, Paige?
Yes,
Okay.
perfect.
This is all off the cuff. So in that situation, I did feel that way. And so I have not yet tackled it the way that my beautiful summary has suggested, but I will go through it with you. Um, Anger is a tool that we can use. So it's not so much that we need to be able to control it or stop it. The way I think of it is like righteous anger. Like there's sometimes a reason that you're angry because there's something that genuinely needs to be resolved or fixed. Obviously, if we're acting out of anger and not love, then that's where there's an opportunity to grow on how we act and how we show up in that. So um, psychologist Harriet Lerner, who wrote The Dance of Anger, says that anger is a signal and it's one worth listening to. Just like all of our emotions, we can try to identify which emotion it is and find out what the opportunity is. And so um, we talk about our emotions like a fear as fear-based, and so generally there's a underlying fear. And so in my situation, it was a fear that I was being misunderstood in the situation, a fear that my integrity and character was being attacked. Um, and so that's where my anger came from. So Brene Brown says that we shouldn't necessarily ask why we're angry, but what we're afraid of. And she says anger is an emotion that we feel when something we value is at risk. And so that situation, I hope it's okay. I'm referring it back to a situation, but that situation for
Yep,
me
it's perfect. Yeah.
was with my mom and my sister. And I have a very difficult situation relationship with my sister and always have. And so when we're in like a balance that's working, um, it's kind of like we're all like dancing on eggshells and things are okay and that dance is going well. And then if a situation happens that threatens to disrupt that, um, I feel angry because I know in that situation, like I'm the one that has to fix it. This is just me personally. Like I know that like my sister isn't going to be the one that comes in and like fixes the situation or apologizes. And um, so I get really frustrated. So we'll hear about frustration, I think, next week, but I get really frustrated that I then am the one that is in that situation. But I very much value my relationship with my mom, and then my sister helps me a lot with my daughter, but it comes at a price for me. I have to bite my tongue and I have to dance on those eggshells, like I mentioned. Um, and so that's where like something that I value was at risk. Hopefully that helps. Um, um, let's
I
see.
interject here because I think
Please.
it's a really powerful concept to realize. Like, anger comes up around family a lot, around close relationships, in marriage, in partnership, with children, right? Um, and the concept is that all these, we're going to feel all of these emotions, and anger is kind of like one of the most uncomfortable ones. We're like, when we don't, when we're conscious, right? It's like, oh, like having this reaction is so violent, really. Like it's like I really want to hurt something or someone, and it's just really uncomfortable. But um it's giving us this opportunity to consciously choose love over fear and choose the principles that we believe in over our feelings. Like, we don't ever act from feeling, we act from principles. And so you can feel the anger, and then that it's really important to find like healthy releases for anger and healthy ways to let anger out of the body, because they're going to come through. But then you jump into the principle again, and what I hear is your principle is valuing your child having the support from family and an aunt that loves her. Now, it comes at like a high level of development for yourself to not act out of anger, because if you do, that would ruin that belief and principle and value that you have on her relationship with your sister, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Way to frame it. And it's helpful for you to say it because it's hard for me to say it. Like it's hard
Yeah.
for me to say, "Oh, I do value that," but I do.
Yeah.
I do. Um, I I see the messiness around it and the things I have to kind of deal with or not get frustrated about. Um, but ultimately, yes, I do value it, and I value that it adds to her life and to my parents' life and my life. It helps me. So yeah. Um, so yeah, I think that's um it's like what we have to do is like you said, like we have to act out of the principle and act out of love. And instead of just how do I feel and how, yeah, we can maybe junk journal or something like how do we feel? How do we want to let it out? But instead, how are we going to choose to actually show up? So that's the opportunity is to show up in love and to, I guess, try to maybe right the wrong or Is that, would you say that like the opportunity there is to figure out what it is that's wrong and then how we can show up to make it right?
Yeah, because the message of anger is that a boundary's been crossed. Is that right?
Okay, yes, I don't have that sheet in front of me, but that's
Okay, let me pull it up because it
Yeah.
is
Says fear of things being unfair.
fair. Okay.
fear of things
Your
being
book says fear
Thank
of things being unfair or fear of never feeling safe again. Fear that trust is broken and can't be restored.
Thank you.
so good. Thank you, Breezy. So in that fear of trust and things being unfair, then okay, so what I want to share is actually this is from Brene Brown. I found it this week because I'm at this retreat center. It's so great. It has all the books that like I could geek out on for an entire year in my room that I'm sleeping in. One of them's Brene Brown's. And so I found this and I thought it was really great to see because last week everyone was like, I want to do anger. I want to do anger. I want to do anger. Did you hear that, Laura? Like you said anger. So I'm like, okay, I gave you anger. But then Brooke's like, I want to do anger. And then I think mom or Brianna were like, I want to do anger. So the thing is, it is powerful to look at anger and go, oh, okay. So what is it under it? And there are different ways to address each of these feelings. Like one is rage, and it's like, I need to go into my car and scream, or I need to go into my house and take a baseball bat and like hit my bed for 5 minutes, like I need to scream at the top of my lungs, but I'm going to do it in a safe, contained, conscious way. I'm going to, or if it's like, if you realize I have anger, but it's actually a fear, then you go, okay, I'm going to do some journaling on like or I'm going to start doing some research on the information that I'm lacking. So this is helpful to kind of recognize there's there's different messages of the anger. Yeah. So same thing here. It's just in a different kind of diagram. But this is helpful because it's like, I feel this anger, but really anger can show up because of so many different ways, right? And just different things and situations. Anything you want to add to this part of it?
There's a summary that came up in my chat GPT. I don't know. I just love chat GPT. I know you use it all the time. But it says every time anger shows up, there's an opportunity hiding inside it. One, an opportunity to learn your boundaries. Anger might be telling you something sacred matters, which is what you were just saying, like a boundary has been crossed. And a friend actually pointed that out to me that, I have boundaries and how I'm willing to be treated. And so that's why I was frustrated. And then two, an opportunity for empathy. When you recognize fear beneath your anger, you begin to see fear beneath others' anger too, which is helpful.
Then gives us empathy. Yeah, for sure.
And then three, an opportunity for transformation. Anger can destroy or it can purify. When harnessed with love, it becomes courage, clarity, and change. So I think that's a really good summary or way to.
Courage, clarity, and change. And I think that's kind of out of all of these different feelings, we can come out of it with the gift of courage, clarity, or change, right? Or all three. But when you realize, oh, I just feel really hurt, and you go, oh, what is it that, right? It all has to do with a boundary being crossed or fear that things aren't fair, they're not going to change, they're always going to be this way, these kind of things. But it comes out as this kind of like, I love how we're doing this first after Brooks, but like the anger is such an overall kind of emotion that it can come off as like this bright red. We think of anger as red, right? Like I'm seeing red.
Yeah.
But if we go under it a level, we can see, oh, this is fear, this is rejection, this is depression, whatever. And if you go one level below that, what do you really find? Like, I find as I've been looking at this, like, it's really just a desire to be loved.
Hmm.
You know, when we go under the deepest part of it all, it does come back to love. It's just a call for love, because
Yeah.
everything's an act of love or a call for love. And even anger is, right? And so it's beautiful to be able to like break these things down and get clarity on what's actually happening for us.
That's a really good image. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, I'll share it in the chat. Yeah, so it's there's the gift and the invitation. Laura, this is so awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we are complete on this?
No. Good.
Can I just give a little feedback of something really neat? That's, I don't know a lot, but I know some of what I heard. I mean, in terms of Laura, what you're going through and everything. However, we spent time at the retreat, and I saw you and I heard you, and what you said in last week's call was just like, I think you had it kind of parceled in a, you hit the nail on the head. You had just gotten home, and what I heard you say was, I wanted time with my daughter, and because I'd been away, and I wanted time with my daughter. And boy, I admired that. And I thought, well, absolutely. I mean, you get the last call. She's yours. And you get the last call, at least until she's 12. She thinks you're God, you know? And, and yeah, so that's what I heard you kind of, the premise of what I heard you fighting for
Yeah.
was you were having to convince people that she was yours for the day, or you wanted time with your daughter.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Justifiable. Yeah. Thank you.
So that's the beauty of anger, is it's actually a call for reclamation, right? It's a call to claim what is yours. That's the power of anger, right? It's saying like, this is unfair, right? It's the Kali energy of like, no more. And it's such a beautiful energy when it's like, no, I'm claiming what's mine again.
Yeah.
And it's doing it in the wisdom of honoring what our values are, what's most important, what we're committed to. And like it's a dance, right? And it's realizing like is where it's coming from and all the different things, but there's something really, really beautiful. And so when you look at anger, what's the greatest gift for you in anger, Laura?
I think that the situations helped me to realize that it is because a boundary was being threatened, or something like I went into it with complete like that what me or Joy just said, like, she's my daughter, I want to spend time with her. Like, it was just very clear to me and very easy. What was the question?
What is the gift of anger for you?
Maybe helping me better see what I truly value and where my boundaries are. The one thing that it gave me in that situation.
Yeah. Like in this case, it's injustice, right? It's like that feeling. And so then are you enraged? Are you furious? Are you angry? Are you like, what is it? And then, just, are you masking it? Are you handling it with wisdom? Are you recreating that boundary? Are you stating what you want in a clear way? Right?
Yeah.
it's really this invitation of like reclaim what is yours, but do it in a conscious, compassionate way, as we want to always act from a place of like ultimate love and checking in, is this love or is this fear, right? But if you're doing it out of like, no, I am powerfully creating a life that I love, where I'm connected with my daughter, and that I like, she knows that I come home at night and I'm hers, whatever it is, you're consciously creating that. And so just being like real with yourself and letting yourself feel the anger, because it's giving you a gift. It's giving you a gift to say what you need to say, when before you're like, it's fine, I don't even have to bring that up, like it'll cause a riff, and like it'll make her uncomfortable, right?
Yeah. Well, and clarity in that, I mean, I should have just picked up the phone and had a conversation with my mom about it, instead of, I just responded quickly to something and it was taken and turned into this whole big thing. So
I think that was a wise conclusion right there.
yeah.
Your mom doesn't have a stake in it. She's got your happiness in her core. That's a huge value. And you just nailed it. That call would have probably also in the future serve you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like you did it wrong. It was perfect just the way you did it. It's just next, like you're getting more information so that next time you can step up to the next level, right? Like it's all perfect the way it is, because this gave you so much more information and so much more determination to show up in a different and new way and more evolved way next time, right?
Yeah.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. This is such an important emotion to understand. So I appreciate you taking that on. And now we get to go to Ruth. So excited.
Oh,
Nice job.
yes. Thank you, Laura. Okay, well, just so you guys know, there's a creaking sound in the background. That's my daughter on her swing. I've tried and tried and tried to get rid of that squeak, and it persists. So I'm used to it, but just so you know.
If the Zoom cancels it out, we can't even hear it.
Oh, good. Awesome. So my topic is one that I'm very familiar with because I've experienced it a lot, and I've not always handled it well, but I've come to recognize it faster and faster the older I get, and that is the emotion of overwhelm. And so I think especially women, we're very familiar with overwhelm. And in my studying and searching, basically there are 3 different ways to define it or describe it. One is there's not enough blank, not enough time, not enough energy, not enough bandwidth, your capacity is limited to handle what's coming at you, or what has been building up slowly over time, and you reach a point of saturation and you don't have enough resources or help or time or energy, fill in the blank there. Another way to describe overwhelm is that there is a fear of your inability to handle whatever is coming at you. That plays into it. In the Gratitude as Alchemy workbook, it says there's not enough time and a pressure to race against time and force outcomes, or a fear of making mistakes. I would add, for me, my experience has been that I have this array of things that are all equally demanding. I can't offload any of them. They all have to be addressed, and I can't do it well. So I'm going to be letting somebody down. I'm going to fail at this. Somebody's counting on my participation here, and I'm not up to it. So there's a component of I'm not enough, or I don't, I just fear the failure of not doing well at too many things all at one time. So, I think this feeling, which manifests differently for different people. As I was reading through things, some people describe it as working with all their might, yet drowning at the same time. So they're putting in their best effort, but it's crushing them. There are different types of overwhelm. Overwhelm can be, let me look at my notes here. Emotional, mental, or physical. And they manifest in different ways. And you can have a lot of overwhelm in one area, and then one little thing in another area is your tipping point. So you might be emotionally overwhelmed, and then you suddenly have a physical task to do, and that's what sends you spiraling. And you just, I can't deal with this anymore. So it can be all one or a combination. It can be a slow buildup over time, or it can be like a catastrophic event. So my, in 2021, the house that we were renting and living in burned to the ground. We lost everything we owned. We got out with what we were wearing and my purse, because I had the key fob in my purse. So I had to grab my purse. We got our pets and my aging parents who were in their 90s, got them out safely, and we fled. And that was what we had. And so there were so many components of loss. And then so many components of all these decisions we have to make. Where are we staying tonight? Where are we staying tomorrow? It'd be really nice to have a toothbrush. What about clean underwear? What are we eating? What is the dog gonna eat? On and on and on. Just, it felt like an endless number of decisions to be made that were both small, important, and really large. And we had a lot of information coming in, people trying to help. And at the same time, just, I can't think, because I can't even fully wrap my head around, I don't have my wedding ring anymore. I don't have, sorry, I didn't plan to get emotional. I don't have photos of my babies. They were in a box, ready to get digitized. So that's kind of a big example of being overwhelmed. I've worked through a lot of those things, but so one of the things, when people are overwhelmed, they have a lot of different symptoms, and they may not recognize what they are, what they're pointing to. And there's so many online that you could look up, and I have a huge long list. I'm not going to go through those because it's just exhaustive and overlaps with so many other things. But what I came to settle into is that the genius of this emotion, overwhelm, is that our mind, our brain, and our body are working in concert to protect us, because there are too many things, physical, mental, emotional, whatever, for us to manage them well. And so we get flooded. We exit our prefrontal cortex and go to our reptilian brain, and it's a survival mode. the brilliance of this, I think, is that it forces us to stop making decisions because we're just not capable of reasoning. We're not capable of thinking well. We're not capable of handling it. So our body says, well, stop, time out. You need a break. The tragedy is, in my opinion, that we often ignore this warning, this 5-alarm fire. We often just say, oh, just a little smoke. And we push through. No, I have to get this done. And we do it from a place of survival instead of a place of thoughtful, meaningful decisions and options and thinking well. So unhealthy response to this warning signal, it's shutting down. We just don't acknowledge that we're overwhelmed. We just can't focus, I just can't. And we just shut it all down, which is easy to do. Another unhealthy response is to dissociate. We just kind of put on a different hat and no, I'm the Wonder Woman. I'm just gonna get distracted and go get a manicure. And yeah, we'll figure it all out later. And then the last unhealthy response I put down is trying to push through the feelings without addressing underlying needs. This can result in burnout and depression and a lot of other different things. So those are just a couple unhealthy responses that I'm familiar with. I lived a lot of years in burnout. I am a full-time care provider for my adult daughter who has disabilities. I'm also responsible for my little sister who has developmental disabilities, responsible for her care, and I'm on call 24/7 for the people providing her care. So it's not as intense, but you know, when you get a call at 2 a.m. that says, your sister's just really not sleeping. She's stressed, she's upset. She could really use a call from Big Sis. So caregiver burnout is something I'm really familiar with. And service burnout is a real thing. Being overextended, trying to outperform, outdo, be involved is another way to get burned out pretty easily. So healthy responses, and this is where I feel like overwhelm is just such a beautiful thing to experience because there's an invitation there, an invitation to reconnect to your body. I think overwhelm is your body has reached a tipping point and it's finally just screaming at you. So it's an invitation to listen to yourself. It's an invitation to speak and say, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do all of this stuff on my plate. It's an invitation to ask for help. Sometimes, and I think my experience is that women most often respond better to this statement. Like if you tell a sister or a friend that's female, say, I'm feeling overwhelmed. They get it because they've experienced it. There's a connection there that they understand. And so because they understand that feeling, there's an opening for them to say, oh, I get that. I'm sorry. I can't help you, but there might be somebody else who can. Or they might say, is there one thing I can take off your plate? Can I help? Can I just listen while you dump? What are you overwhelmed about? That's another really healthy way to handle overwhelm, is to do what I call, oh, I didn't put it on this page. But it's a dumping. Once you recognize you're overwhelmed, just get it all out. Everything you're overwhelmed about is really helpful to see what's underneath. Whether you're overwhelmed by expectations, others, or your own, tasks that must happen, things that you've said yes to that you really probably shouldn't have said yes to, ways you volunteered, whether you sacrificed your boundaries. There's just a lot of things. If you just get them out, usually there's a pattern or a picture that evolves that you can see if you're honest. Some of this stuff isn't mine, or maybe I could get help here. Maybe I reprioritize. Anyway, that's been something that's been very helpful for me.
This is so, can I pause here? Because like this is so powerful to recognize these two things. And like, who here has experienced overwhelm? Like this is such a feminine like experience in a lot of ways. And so it's so important to recognize like women, because of the way our brains literally interact, like 50% more than the masculine brain between the left and right hemisphere. The connections thing is going on at a much faster rate and more intense rate. And so we can see all the different things, like, and dusting the piano is as important as making sure that your daughter has all her needs taken care of, which are 50 of them, which you're completely aware of, and all the things that are in the house that need to be done, and all the things that with your other 5 children. So with women, we have so many things that we are aware of that just is distinct from the masculine mind. And so what I hear are 2 really huge gifts is, one, dump, like get it all out, because when all 50 of them are just as important, then you cannot be in the present moment. You can't like do one thing at a time and actually enjoy it, because in that moment, I still have 49 things that are on my mind. And so it robs us of happiness. It robs us of joy, of being in the present moment. And so when you do the mind dump and you go, oh, not unnecessary, delegate category, do right now category, I'm going to put it onto my calendar for today. I'm going to put it on the calendar for next week. And you actually say, I'm going to get these things done or not do them at all. But now I can be totally present in this moment now. We reclaim our power and our joy, right? Mm-hmm. And then the other thing is going into vulnerability and going into community and going into connection and allowing people to support us, whether it's physically or emotionally, and going, hey, like I'm feeling so overwhelmed. And they're like, wow, I felt that too. Or, wow, is there anything I could do? Or, wow, like I don't ever experience that if it's some dude, you know, like whatever it is. But whatever you get, like there's courage in being vulnerable enough to share it and to allow people to show up for us. So those 2 solutions are just so beautiful and powerful. And I just wanted to reiterate that. And now I'll just let you continue, but thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. I think being honest and vulnerable with yourself is really important. Really, really important, because you're just going to recreate more overwhelm if you can't really be honest. Another invitation is to recognize that perhaps some of your overwhelm comes from a violation of a boundary, or you didn't have a boundary and you need to create a boundary around something. It's an invitation to say no. Maybe to say, I really would love to help next year. I just am not able to right now. So one thing I want to put in here is that there have been times when when I've not had a person to share this dump with. And I've had to give it to God. And I've just had to wait for his help. And that has been hard. Just hard. But there have been lessons and invitations in that as well. And so sometimes the most immediate community you have is yourself and God. One of the interesting things I learned here, and then I'll get to some strategies. And I forgot to write down who said this, but it was said that it is a secondary emotion that we feel when we're trying to control the expression of a primary emotion. And I thought that was really interesting, and it's given me a lot to think about, and I haven't landed anywhere with that yet, but there's something to think about. So
well, I think it has a lot to do with that. What things I had, the images I shared about anger and how it was explaining how anger is also secondary emotion, like the primary emotion for you to go under. So to look at like what's the underlying emotion behind and yeah, I think you've gone through a lot of them. Of the overwhelm is fear that you can't do it all, that you don't have the resources, or fear that you fundamentally aren't enough, or fear that you don't have the support. So yeah, it's a great kind of concept and an invitation to question our thoughts and say, I'm not always upset for the reason I think.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So some of the strategies, and there are quite a few out there online, but I just wanted to share some that have really helped me. First is breath work, just to regulate my body so that I get out of my reptilian brain and can have access to my prefrontal cortex again. Prefrontal cortex is where you have higher thoughts, executive function, where you can see options, you can problem solve, you can think more clearly. That's the part where you can imagine, like, okay, best case scenario, worst case scenario. I can probably land somewhere in between. And that all happens in the prefrontal cortex. So breathing is a really great way to bring you back to your body and bring it from the lower reptilian survival into okay, this looks and feels really bad, but that's just my fear. It's really not that bad. Let's take stock and let's just break this apart and see what we can do with it. The next strategy is to move your body. Doesn't have to be for a long time. 5 minutes of intentional movement, whether it's walking around your house because you're not able to leave, going up and down your stairs, dancing, some gentle yoga, some stretching. That also brings you back into your body, and it gets the blood moving to your brain, and you can, again, stay in your prefrontal cortex.
And stay out of come back out of disassociation. Like that's what you were saying at the beginning, is one of the side effects of overwhelm is that we disassociate. And so to come back into the body and go, no, I'm here on earth, I'm powerful, I'm strong, like get back into your physical body. That's so good. Breathing and exercise.
Yeah. So another strategy with the thought dump is to write it down. Put it in black and white. Putting pen to paper instead of typing requires you to use more of your brain, different parts at the same time. And so that's also really, really good to manage this overwhelm and to put it into context. Give yourself permission to rest. It's okay to take a little break. it's okay to ask for help, even if it's just letting somebody know I'm overwhelmed. This feels bigger than I have capacity to manage. Sometimes help will come. You can even get more specific with reaching out to somebody. I committed to doing this for you next week. And the reality is I just don't think that's going to happen. I want to give you enough time to find somebody else to do it instead. Or I need help with this. I need help with that. By putting it on paper, you can see it and then be able to reach out for specific help. Singing. This is another thing to help with dissociation. When I was in high school, my choir teacher, she had 3 PhDs. She was amazing. And she did a study on music and specifically singing. And that is that you cannot be angry or fearful when you sing. It's impossible for your brain to hold anger and fear when you're singing. And so that has, since I was 18, that's my go-to. I start with humming and then I end up singing. And it clears my head. It recalibrates a lot of things and I can think more clearly. And so I think singing truly is a prayer. It's such a heavenly gift and a really great strategy to use for a lot of different things. Do something enjoyable, work it in. And then my last is grounding. There are different techniques for grounding, but what I really love is going outside, even if it's just right outside my door. And sometimes it's I have a hand on my daughter, so I know where she is and what she's doing, or I'm holding her when she was smaller and I just step right outside my door. She might be bundled to the hilt because it's a blizzard outside, but going out and feeling something real. The sunshine, the wind, the snow, the rain, touch the grass, touch the ground, whatever, outside touching something that's real. And then from there, you can expand to naming. One of the common things that was listed online was name 5 things that are real, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things you can smell, using your senses. I've not always been able to get to all those, but for me, just outside, something that's real that I can touch and like, okay, the rain, that is real. That's reality. It's raining and I feel it. And it just kind of pulls me back into a place of calm, that there's one thing that's not spinning me out, but that's real. And that just kind of helps me to realign. And from there, I usually start singing. And that is just helps me get grounded. So that's my dump. That's what I've put together and really enjoyed learning about and organizing for you on Overwhelm.
Ruth, that was so magnificent. I feel like you have a PhD in this topic and you got to we learned from an absolute expert. And even just hearing your daughter making these little sounds behind as you shared was just, it's inspiring to see how you've mastered this and how you can even see such a gift in it. Wow, thank you. It helped me survive in times when I wouldn't have been able to survive. And this is how it helped me. I shut down, I disassociated in these things, but now I know how to come back into life and all the colors and all the experiences. And so it's just beautiful to see. And thank you for the effort you put into the lesson. And it was just really beautiful. I got so much out of it. In fact, I updated the form because I'm getting the upgrade on this emotion from this lesson. So thank you so much. Yeah. I'd love to hear.
When Brooke was a young mama in her first house living in Moscow for the first years, Ruth was the most beautiful angelic Relief Society president too in the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. Well, She was amazing doing all the things she does. And I think she has a PhD in women's issues because of her Relief Society presidency. Don't you, Brooke?
I'm wondering who that was. Ruth, you would have been in that same ward with us over on the Joseph
It
Street
was
building.
Ruth. Ruth was at your house anyway, and I met her. Ruth, at one point you were Relief Society president. Am I right?
I was a counselor.
Their counselor. Okay.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
It was a little while ago,
10
yeah.
is 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go around and just share your biggest takeaway from class today. Love to hear just the shares. Brianna, we haven't heard from you, so I'm going to have you start if you're available.
Yeah, I am. Let me just, I took myself off of Bodhi's just looking at pictures next to me, so I took myself off of. Okay, there. Oh, there's my bedroom. Okay, oh, I really liked the singing. I didn't know that. I hadn't learned that before. That you can't feel angry or scared, was it?
Yeah, think about it. It's like a beast was chasing you. You wouldn't be singing. I love it. It's really cool.
Yeah. And I've been here taking notes, and I thought, Laura, I really liked yours when you talked about let me go back. Now I can't. Oh, it's at the very first day. Sorry. Oh, I really liked how you said, ask yourself, what am I afraid of? Right. So the invitation is like realizing when you're feeling anger, like, okay, what am I afraid of here? And then that idea of coming back at the conversation, like with your mom, when you said, come back to the conversation with your mom. When you're not feeling angry, but you're then ready, you'll be like, this is what that triggered for me. I'm afraid of this happening. So I like those two things.
Yeah. So vulnerable, but real and honest, and not attacking and owning your own stuff. Like all the principles of nonviolent communication, of like open communication. It's beautiful. Thank you, Bree. Thanks for taking notes. You're like our visual note taker. Laura, what about you?
That was so good, Ruth. Thank you. I'm glad I didn't go after you. It would have been really, really hard. Yeah. But I felt like the things you were giving us, like the strategies, I was like, man, we could really apply these to so many of these emotions. You know, it's like you gave us kind of a framework to handle so many of the emotions. So, and I don't know why, but I've never heard about the reptilian brain and getting you out of that and getting back into your prefrontal cortex. So I really liked that part. And then it made me think about when you were talking about grounding and feeling something real. When I was a new mom, everyone said when you just have tried everything and you can't get your baby to stop crying, either take them outside or put them in water. Like these two things, like it gives them fresh air or the feeling of something different, you know, the cold or whatever, or in water, and then they feel that sensation. So it kind of made me think of that. Getting them out of their crying fit is like, I'm having an internal crying fit. What do I need to do to get myself out of it? So anyway, that just made me think of that.
Thank
Thank
you. Yeah, it's so powerful to like learn from each other. We all have these different superpowers. So thank you. Okay, Mama, what was your biggest takeaway from today?
Oh, I think I gave my feedback pretty well in each of the wonderful lectures. Thank you, ladies. I was thinking the same, that, wow, this is just so interesting to have identified emotions that we were feeling as within this little group, and then delegating the learning process, and how the sharing of that is just so much not a lecture, so much easier to listen to and associate and personally integrate, because of the structure of doing it this way. Like you're intelligent mamas, and we're a group of mamas. And man, the brain, talk about repair, that brain changes. Let's just say the mother's brain is totally an evolved brain. And it's just a thrill to hear the accuracy with words, it's just a thrill to see the honesty and be part of this. So I took notes too. Proof positive. My book is full of scribbles.
Mom is the best note taker.
I've decided to start using an H2 soft pencil because I just takes me back to art school, and I just love what it does on a page. And anyway, yeah, notes and more notes. I get the biggest kick out of seeing Brooke riding her bike while she fits this into her life and into her master's degree, and how she faces overwhelm. And I got the biggest kick last week. Honestly, there was another lady who was a new face who jumped on, and it wasn't Leah Young. It was that new face. I don't know who she was, but anyway, she came into the group on a weird day because she should be invited, honestly, to a second free jump in, because if you like, Paige, because we everybody expressed a little bit of anger as a basic fundamental primary.
He was right on with all of us, don't worry. But yeah, I forgot to remind her about this, but she's one of my new clients. I hopefully she joins in. But yeah, she's really great and she gets it. So it's just each one of these are so relatable, you know. And what I want to point out is what overwhelmed us before is not even a blink in our eye, because it's just that, like Bree was talking about patience, where she was praying for patience, so she got a lot of opportunities to be patient, you know. And what overwhelmed us in the past is now not overwhelming at all, right? And so our capacity is growing. You're all just exactly where you're meant to be on the planet and in your evolution, and it's just so beautiful to learn from you. I really appreciate and honor you for the wisdom that you keep, and so I'm grateful for what you add to this class. So next week Mom and Brooke will be sharing, but before we end, let's just end with some deep breaths and drop into gratitude. The gratitude challenge starts the first week of November. I'll be sending out the invite, but please share and expand the experience we get to have there. But just take a deep breath, close your eyes, and tune into your body and the experiences that you're having in your body, even the temperature on your skin, the breath through your lungs, through your heart, through your nose. Appreciating the sounds that you hear. Maybe taking your tongue and just drawing it from the front of your teeth to the back of your throat. A big relieving coming out of your mouth with your next exhale. Another week. All that stuff in our to-do list, but just coming into this present moment now. Again, just releasing any tension, any stress, even any anger. A lot of it is just our body holds the tension, the stress, the anger somatically, and we can just release it by shaking, by breathing, by sighing. Maybe even shaking the hands out. Shaking the body, just like a deer after it's been hunted. Sometimes our body just holds some energy we just need to let go of. That's right. And releasing down into a beautiful hum. The hum of pleasure. Mother. Again, just humming the song of your heart, whatever that sounds like, it's perfect for you. And just noticing how easy it is to come back into this place of peace, coming back into the place of love, because all things are just an act of love or a call for love. And spending time to come back into this place is such an act of love for self. It's self-care and it's care for everyone in your life. So just tuning into your commitment this week to love yourself more, to come into this place a little more often. Maybe there's a commitment to write down your to-do list or to share how you're feeling. Maybe it's a decision to clearly communicate what you need, what you want. Intentionally creating the life that you love. Maybe it's a commitment to record your dream in the morning. Whatever it is, just choose your commitment this week. See yourself taking those actions, doing that thing. Feel how proud you are of how you're showing up in life, in the world, with the people you love, for yourself. This is your commitment. And breathe it in. Put a smile on your face. Raise your hands over your head. And say the word yes. Okay, ladies, you're the best. I love you. I think that Laura, so glad your MRI went well. Can't wait to hear the awesome results. And we're gonna do class 1 hour earlier this time. And Ruth, I've got you on the correct chat so that you know that we are. But I'll change the time on the calendar again, and we will be meeting at the 9 o'clock hour. Is that right?
Pacific time is
9 Pacific, and oh, I already changed it. Okay, good. Okay, so we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.